Okay, the time is now 5:46, and I call to order this public hearing, December 11th, 2025, on our public budget on the proposed fiscal year 2026. This was, of course, subject of our budget hearings earlier in November, and this is the opportunity for anybody from the public who would like to be heard. One of you is our solicitor, so sir, would you like to provide any comment on the public budget this evening?
Oh, on the budget?
No. Okay. All right. Thank you. And no? Okay. No hands up on Zoom. So there being no public comment, I will adjourn this public hearing. Thank you all. Yeah. So our regular meeting will start at 6 o'clock. Okay, the time is now 6 o'clock, and I call to order this December 11th, 2025 Borough Council meeting. We'll begin with a moment of silence and Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Perry.
First of all, hello to everyone that's here on Zoom. I thought tonight I would do something a little bit different. Instead of just doing a regular moment of silence, I wanted to do more of a reflection. We're at the end of the year. A new year is about to be upon us in a couple of weeks. And so I was thinking about my year in review and what it's been like for me. Some of the tragedies I think that all of us have experienced, whether or not it happened this year or a year before, but we've, experienced some grief, loss of a loved one or whatever, health issue, whatever it could be. But in the midst of that, I also thought instead of spending a lot of time dwelling on, the year that wasn't the year I wanted it to be, there were blessings that came out of this year as well. And so tonight, I wanted us to take some time, whether you're thinking about, the losses, or whether you're thinking about the blessings that you've gotten throughout this year, because every year is different. You'll have both. Sometimes you'll have a year where it's just been blessing after blessing. It's been good. There may be a year where, unfortunately, you suffered through a lot of tragedy, and it was just, you were just able to get up every morning. But in every day, the fact that we're able to wake up and still be here, still walking amongst the living, I think is a day of is a blessing. Every year that you get to wake up on your birthday and start fresh, I think it's a blessing. So tonight, I just want you to take some time, just a few moments, just to reflect on the year that you've had, and think about what you want in the new year. What do you want to see happen in the new year? Yeah, so everybody just close their eyes for a few minutes. And now for the pledge.
Thank you, Councilor Perry. Madam Secretary, the roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Here.
Ms. Mallon.
Here.
Ms. Perry.
Here.
Ms. Roos.
Here.
Mr. Shaw.
Here.
Mr. Stubbe.
Here.
Mayor Schultz.
Here.
Mr. Clement.
Here. Next up is the opportunity for citizens and visitors to be heard. We begin with presentations that were pre-scheduled.
She's feeling under the weather, so she'd like to move to January.
Okay. Ms. Wanda, we will punt your presentation until January. So we'll see you then, and we hope you're feeling well soon. So next would be an opportunity for public comment. If there's anybody here who would like to be heard on any issue of borough government, you can come on up to the podium, and we'll need your name and address for the record. And Stephanie, is Wanda the only one by Zoom at this point? Wanda's the only one by Zoom.
No,
So,
there's a couple.
oh, good. Okay. All right.
Good evening. My name is Maureen Chang, and I live at 252 Franklin Street. I'm here tonight because a series of zoning, safety, and transparency failures involving the property next to mine, which nearly cost my family our lives. I believe they require immediate action from this borough. In August of 2025, I submitted a right to know request for all documentation, permits, and applications related to the recovery house at 254 Franklin Street. I received only 6 pages. No narrative supporting, no narrative referenced in support of the permit request, no supporting documentation, no safety plan, and nothing related to the special exemption for off-street parking that the permit referenced. The material I did receive classified the property as a single-family detached house. That is factually false. 254 Franklin Street is a duplex. We share a common wall with it. That misclassification is not a clerical error. It directly affects fire separation, occupancy limits, and emergency response requirements. Furthermore, living within 200 feet of the property, the owner should have filed for a special exemption, and we did not receive any notice of that request, both of which never happened. Although the borough classified the property as a group home, pursuant to its zoning ordinance, the operators publicly describe it as a recovery house. I am concerned the borough never evaluated the correct use. I am also concerned that the property had not been required to adhere to the definition of a group home in the borough ordinances, or even follow those rules and regulations. These failures became life-threatening on November 11th at 12:45 in the morning, when a resident, suspected to be under the influence by fire personnel and police, fell asleep while cooking and started a fire on the shared wall. Myself, my husband, and our 6-year-old son were asleep. It took the residents 5 minutes to wake us up once they were evacuated safely. In an attached dwelling, 5 minutes is the difference between escape and tragedy. Their side is now condemned. Ours require extensive smoke and water remediation. The borough currently has an open investigation into overoccupancy, which I've brought up several times. I want to be clear. I support recovery. My issue is not with the people seeking help. It's with the borough's failure to accurately classify structures, follow its own zoning ordinance, enforce occupancy and safety standards, provide complete public records. Tonight, I respectfully request that council and borough staff immediately provide the complete documentation that should have been released in August, the narrative, supporting use permit, special exemption materials, if they were even ever applied, and etc. Explain in writing how a duplex was misclassified as a detached dwelling. Look into why we never received any notice of zoning requests. Permanently deny reoccupancy until all violations are resolved and a public hearing is held. Review and strengthen emergency notification protocols for attached dwellings next to group homes or recovery homes. My goal is simple: protect my son, my neighbors, and the recovering residents themselves by ensuring the borough enforces the laws already on the books. I do have a packet of paperwork if the council would like to see what I received, if I can give it to anybody.
You can pass up anything you wish. Yep. You can pass it to the end and we'll distribute it. Is it, you have multiple copies there?
There's 10 copies.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. And Ms. Chang, as I expressed in the email, I'm very sorry that you were displaced by that fire. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, all. I'm not a very good public speaker. My name's Tim Chamberlain. I live at 146 Spring Road. We moved here about a year ago, bought a house there. We're right across, my concern is we're right across, we're up from the fire hall, right across from the grounds parking there, the car show parking, excess parking flow up above the fire hall. When we bought the house, we knew about the car show and the events held there and the people, which we love. And but one thing we didn't realize is here they're letting it turn into a truck stop. Apparently they sell permits for that. The borough isn't, but it's the grounds down there are selling permits to park there. We did not know it was a truck stop. The trucks come in there all times of night. They run a lot. Did call the police on them. They shut their vehicles off from idling. But they're still, when they get there at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning leaving, they're still starting up. Just wondered where it was a truck stop and wanted to see if there's anything that could be done about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily want to put staff on the spot since this just came up, but I don't know the potential uses there. And yeah, so maybe just take a moment and take a look at it. We'll have staff look into that for you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm not against trucks. I love trucks, but I don't want a truck stop in our town. There's plenty of other places to park trucks outside of our town. I don't think anybody in the town wants a truck stop there. But
And can we get your
Thank you.
information so someone could follow up with you with that information then? How do you?
If you would, who would follow up? I'm looking at Jared. Jared's looking at me. So you see Jared over there raising his
Okay.
hand. Make sure he has your information before you leave tonight.
okay, thank you very
Okay,
much,
you're
everybody.
welcome. Is there anybody else who has any public comment?
We have some.
Okay, that's great. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. So who do we have?
Hi, Kevin. You can go ahead and turn your mic on and talk. Oh, let me make sure you're allowed to talk. You should be good.
What's the name that's showing up?
Kevin Wrench. We
Oh.
don't hear you, Kevin.
Mr. Wrench, can you hear us?
Yeah, he's unmuted and everything. I'm
Your
not sure.
your mic is unmuted, Mr. Wrench. If you're having audio problems at the end, there'll be another opportunity at the end of the meeting if you can work out the audio issues. Okay. Is there anybody else?
No.
Okay. And I'm sorry. Yep. Ms. Stallworth.
Good evening, Tawanda Stallworth, Courtyard Drive, Carlisle, PA. Just wanted to stop by as a matter of public record to thank Deputy Mayor Brenda Landis for the service that she has given to the borough of Carlisle. I had the privilege of working with Brenda in the early days of the Lincoln Cemetery Working Committee, and those were some very hard days at times and some tough meetings, some tough conversations. But I really admire the service that you've given to the borough, to that community, and just all of the work that you have done. And so I just wanted to come and thank you publicly. I think a lot of times we can get on these podiums and have public comment and find a lot wrong with things that are happening. But on your final meeting, I wanted to stop by and just say thank you. That I appreciate you. I appreciate the work you've done. And I don't believe that you're done working, maybe in this capacity, but I do just salute you tonight and I thank you for your service.
Aw, thank you. Thank you, Tawanda.
Sure.
Hello?
Mr. Wrench, is that you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep. So we have your name, Kevin Wrench. Is it RENCH?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And then we just need your address, and then you can provide public comment.
All right. Appreciate it. This will be a weird one. My address is 1117 Lauloa Street, Lauloa Street, Kailua, Kailua, Hawaii, 96734. I'm Maureen Wrench's brother. I've verified I'm by policy, I'm allowed to talk in this as a concerned citizen.
Okay, you can go ahead. Mhm.
Okay. So the fire, excellent job to my sister. Heard everything all of you said, and I really do appreciate local government. The fire at my sister's house did not happen in a vacuum. It's the result of systemic failures across all levels of government. And it's not an isolated incident. There's a quick Google search will show you that there's many more throughout the state and throughout the country. Locally, the borough's permitting process fails to catch red flags, allowing high-risk group homes to open without inspection or input, despite our previous warnings, my previous warnings personally, to some of the members of this board. Warnings to authorities before the place even opened. Statewide, Act 59's lax rules let recovery houses evade licensing, staffing, and safety protocols, including no background checks on personnel or residents who could include felons or former inmates living within feet from my nephew and endangering families, including correction officers like my brother-in-law who lived right next door and personally managed many of these inmates while in jail. That doesn't seem to make much sense. So this isn't just about one bad house. It's a failure of government at every level. Local zoning let them slip in unnoticed. State laws waved away licensing like it was optional. Federal rules barely touch places like Blue Mountain, hiding behind nonprofit signs while families burn. My sister worked 2 jobs, saved with her husband to buy this place, and turned it into a lovely home. We're all so proud of her. But now we're dealing with fire, fear, and kids sleeping in hotels, and we're happy that they made it out with their lives. This is enough. Let's make Carlisle prove governments can protect people, not just apologize after. What we want is actionable change, balancing compassion for recovery with community safety. We call on the council to enact stricter ordinances requiring licensing, neighbor notifications, fire safety audits, and background checks for group homes. Partner with Senator Rothman for Act 59 reforms to ensure verifiable standards. Advocate federally for funding tied to compliance, reward responsibility over recklessness. Together, let's build recovery houses that heal without harming, proving Carlisle leads with heart and vigilance. This will not be the last time this happens. So it is time now to make a change before we have a person's name to put on the bill, when something terrible happens. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wrench. Of course, we'll certainly consider all that you've outlined there. Is there anyone else?
Eric Smith, 121 Southeast Street. I'm afraid you guys can't get rid of me that easily. So there's a few things I want to talk about tonight, but first I want to thank and support y'all for the effort that's gone into reconsidering our solid waste and recycling services, and express my support for Measure E1 on tonight's agenda, supporting beginning to plan on bringing that in-house. I really wish that a fair competitive market could let the private sector give us a cheap price, and I think it's kind of a last resort thing that local government has to assume the responsibility, but we don't have a fair competitive market there, and this is all that's left to us, and so I'm really grateful that we can have the bravery to do that. On a similar note, while it's an even bigger and hairier problem, I think the lack of a fair competitive market is a big factor behind the housing crisis that we've all mentioned several times in these meetings. I am very proud to somehow be a borough homeowner. My partner and I got a mortgage just under a year ago through a combination of factors, but far and away, chief among them being luck. We had decided that we did not want to keep looking after we did a couple tours and looked at just how difficult and expensive home buying was. But then a month later, out of the blue, the realtor we'd been working with called us and said, hey, if you're still looking, something just came up that's perfect for you. And I think the bank that foreclosed on this place was trying to get rid of assets before the end of the year. And so we still said, okay, we'll tour it. Sounds fun, but we're not really serious about this. We're not ready for it. And when we toured it and kind of liked it and sat down and looked at numbers, what made the difference was that the mortgage payment was the same as the asking rent for a house this size. We hadn't considered flood insurance. It's at the edge of a flood zone. So after that, it came out to a little more at the time, about $11.50 a month is our mortgage payment. But I looked today for rentals, 2-bed, 1.5 bath, and the cheapest within the borough is $1,300 to rent. So the rental cost is higher than my mortgage payment on an equivalent house that I bought less than a year ago. I think, to me, it's the landlords. They're the ones that bought these things in the first place and now are finding exorbitant ways to charge so much rent. And I don't mean your grandmother who has an accessory dwelling unit to supplement her social security. I mean the corporate landlords that control so much of this town that they can drive the rates in the market. Obviously, housing is not something that can be brought in-house as easily or even as advisably as waste management, which already is a daunting task. And I don't know exactly what course of action to point at, but I just find it really concerning, as many of us have brought up before, and want to point the finger at the handful of companies that we know control so much of our town, most of which are not even based within Pennsylvania. Secondarily, I'll try to crunch the second half into the minute I got left. Another thing that caught my eye tonight was item D1 on the agenda, the purchase of security cameras. I at first glazed over it because it didn't seem like a huge thing, but then I realized I'd been seeing an item or two like this at every meeting I've been coming to for a while. I remember some physical infrastructure to support extending a network and seeing that and thinking, I wonder how big this network is. So this made me just a little curious to go and see maybe where our cameras are, what information they're collecting, and was surprised to find nothing, including no borough ordinance or policy on data storage and handling. As somebody who spends a lot of time outside in Carlisle, I'm really concerned about my data being collected, especially without policies governing its use. This is the kind of data that the data centers everyone's really upset about run on. Data is a product. That's the reason Google is free, because they can sell the data of what you're browsing, how long you look at it, everything. And the data of my face, the makeup, where I go, that is all being stored. And I would just like to know where that's being collected, where it's being stored, how secure that storage is, and also to have a clear publicly available policy on how this data is managed, because I really personally would prefer it not to go to Google and Amazon. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Is there anyone else? Sure.
Hey, folks. Owen Parker, 613 North Hanover Street, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. First, I want to kind of echo a little bit what he was talking about. A few weeks back, I came here talking about some of our unhoused neighbors were having some trouble after the square, the center of town, was cleared. Just want to give you a quick after action, so to speak, but one nearly died of hypothermia, another got flooded out in sub 40-degree weather, and may have had some worse times if they hadn't gotten help. There's a few other stories like that, but this all happened before the cold weather shelter opened, and I don't want this to be framed in any way, shape, or form as a criticism of Beth at CARES or Barry Ann at Safe Harbor. They are both doing absolutely incredible, critical work. But we still have people living in our town who are not their lives are not being respected. I don't mean in like being nice to them. I mean like their ability to survive is not being respected. The bit that echoes Eric is a lot of them are talking about how expensive it is to live here, the rent. Because the rent is so high, motels in the area are able to charge immense amounts of money. And for folks who may not have a permanent home, that's really the only option. I would urge the council to start some kind of concentrated effort at addressing our unhoused neighbors in a systemic way that includes them in that, because nobody in this room understands exactly what they're going through. So we're going to need to identify some people who have a very clear idea of what is going on, what the real problems are, and bring them into the decision-making process. And yes, there's also, like, we do need to bring rent down. I'm not sure how. Good luck with that. But yeah, hope to hear about that soon. Anyway, that's it. Did I get my name and all that jazz? Cool. All right. Thanks again.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? Stephanie, anybody by Zoom? Okay. And I'll note that I had discussed during the last year that I want to put together a task force on unhoused, really the whole spectrum of housing, because by the initial discussions that I've had on the issue, seems like there's a bit of a patchwork. I think they're trying to coordinate the best they can, but I think people fall through the gaps in a lot of ways, and those folks in that story is terribly unfortunate. I do know our co-responder. I'm not sure. The population there at the square grew a little bit. I'm not sure she had the opportunity to work with everybody there, but there was a lot of work going in by our co-responder to try to get those folks into housing that was available, and they didn't want to take it at the time. And that's just the unfortunate reality sometimes of folks in that situation. It's hard to get them to where we think they should be, because they have other challenges, and that's why the system needs to work a little bit better than it does, a lot better than it does. So thank you for bringing that forward. Okay. There is no other public comment, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. And this is a list of routine items that do not appear to be controversial in nature and probably do not require additional discussion. They can be acted on in one motion in their current form. If discussion is desired on any particular item, any member of council or the public may request the item be removed from the consent agenda, and that item will be considered separately. Is any member of council requesting an item be removed? Anyone from the public? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Mellon. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries, and that takes care of all the items through page 3. We'll move on to the regular agenda. There are no tabled, continued, and recurring items. There's nothing under the mayor's report, but I'm going to step down to the podium. I went to a concert a few years ago, and the artist got to the point where you'd expect the finale, and he said, "This is the point where we're going to have the finale, and I'm supposed to walk off the stage, and you're all supposed to cheer, and I'm going to come back on, but we're just going to skip that, and we're going to get right to the music." So I'm going to get right to the music, and of course Brenda knows exactly not exactly what's coming, but yeah, in a sense. And I told you there was going to be a speech tonight, and I'll tell you, it's been a real pleasure these last 8 years serving along with you. And I, know that this comes from the heart. Although I just wanted to make sure I got all my thoughts down. And we chatted about this today. Brenda once had a profile picture on her Facebook page where she was swinging an axe, can't remember exactly what it was, but I always thought that was like the best Facebook profile picture ever. It was a real kind of epic shot of Brenda in action. She's someone who likes to work, and she's someone who likes to get her hands dirty. She passionately loves this borough. There's no doubt in that. So much so that I don't mean to embarrass you, but I've literally seen her cry over over issues that we're tackling, in private in this borough, and it comes from a real place of sincerity and authenticity, and more importantly, she cares for the people of this borough. Brenda's every aim is to make life better for the people of Carlisle. It might have been 10, 12 years ago, I think we chatted. I was trying to convince you to run for council. You politely declined. And it was because of the work that you had done through the Carlisle West Side Neighbors in revitalizing Heberlig Palmer Park. And that happened because you pulled that organization together, Brenda, and you made that happen, and it made something special for that neighborhood. So the call, I remember I was sitting on my couch, call her up, and I asked Brenda if she'd be interested in running, and she politely declines, and she said it's because she likes to do, and she likes to get her hands dirty, right? And elected office didn't seem all that appealing at the time. A couple of years later, somebody else somehow convinced you. So apparently, I'm not as convincing. I wasn't as good of a lawyer back then. I don't know what it was, but just maybe a different point in your life, and things changed. And we're glad that you did eventually run for an appointment and run for office. It's I wanted that picture tonight because of that's who you are. And it really is. You're someone who gets up and does the work. And you wisely abandoned Facebook a year ago. I didn't even realize it. That's how much I'm on Facebook, right? But that photo of Brenda in action, even if it made Mike look like he married an axe murderer, was really the essence of Brenda. So tonight we're honoring someone whose impact on Carlisle will be felt for a long, long time. Brenda has served 8 years on Borough Council, the last 4 of those as Deputy Mayor, and her leadership and thoughtful leadership has really shaped our policies and made a stronger future for our community. Brenda's commitment to Carlisle goes far beyond this chamber. She was the driving force in neighborhood revitalization. Before she was on council, she also created the award-winning Cumber Local short documentary, telling the story of local pride and the benefits of supporting local businesses with authenticity. Her advocacy for zoning reform and housing equity has been tireless. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know where Brenda gets all this energy. It exhausts me sometimes just watching her go, and she really digs in. And if there's something that needs to be researched, Brenda has already researched it. She was the founder and has been an incredibly important leader on our land use reform committee, pushing for modern, inclusive policies that reflect Carlisle's values. She's championed gentle density, mixed-use development, and fairness in housing decisions, always with transparency and community trust at the forefront. Brenda's volunteer spirit is shown through her work, Carlisle West Side Neighbors, Hope Station, the Lincoln Cemetery that Tawanda mentioned earlier, and was vital in Carlisle winning the National Strongest Towns competition, showcasing our resilience and innovation, and in our National Civic League All-America City win. Brenda, I was the first deputy mayor. You've been the best. I think at our cores, we're driven by that same love for this borough. And I know sometimes my weakness is I kind of hold back with my passions. I mean, you've probably seen that more than others in some of our private meetings. But that is why I wanted you as my deputy mayor, because I knew you would push me, and you've made me a better mayor for it. So I thank you very, very personally for all that you've done. And Brenda, your vision, energy, and dedication have really left an indelible mark on Carlisle. On behalf of Borough Council and the entire community, we've gotten you a few gifts. So if you want to come down now. Not that it's boring, but I'll start with the plaque. It's a little less personal, right? So, in recognition of Deputy Mayor Brenda Landis, with deep appreciation for your dedicated service, visionary leadership, and unwavering commitment to our community, your integrity, compassion, and tireless efforts have left a lasting legacy. Thank you for making a difference. And you quoted this. I like to put quotes on these plaques. It wasn't too long ago, but it's like perfect, Brenda. Speak your mind even if your voice shakes, because you certainly have. So thank you for your service. You're welcome. And then, and then you get. I'm gonna give you the podium in a moment. That's never enough for me. So shopping local, right? I went to Whistle Stop. So on behalf of council, we have read outside, because one of the things Brenda did was got our tables at the square, so we can eat outside, you can read outside. Thank you, Brenda. And then we got you some Love Bucks, so you can shop local, pick them up at Creative Palooza. And we got you a book. It's the second volume. You'll have to pick up the third volume, but it's the Carlisle's West End, and I thought you'd love this, by our local historian Randy Watts. And really with the Love Bucks, you can shop local. You can go to Whistle Stop. You can go to Creative Palooza. If you're feeling depressed because you miss our meetings, you can go see Crystal Oakman, and she'll help you out. But again, Brenda, thank you for all these years of service, and I know you'll be back, and I'm going to keep you working for the borough one way or the other as long as I'm here for the next 4 years. So the podium's yours.
Oh man, you guys are so good. I take my work very seriously, and I do not take myself very seriously. And I hope that you all can stay a little silly. Because, just like hone your inner silly and take your work very seriously. That picture, I was also wearing my Wu-Tang hoodie in it, and the axe actually was a Christmas present in a giant box. It had a longboard and an axe in it. They were from Mike. So, so that is the kind of person that I am. I love this place. Yes, you were the first one that asked, and you planted the seed. So it just sort of percolated for like 2 years. I think you actually asked me again, and then other people would ask. So really, you get all the credit, Sean. So that's why I'm here. I appreciate very, very much that you all collectively have taken my ridiculous ideas and let me run with them, and then supported them, and like land use reform, Parks and Rec, like ridiculous, like talking about sewers, talking about I've cried over pushing, like not having to push the button for the pedestrian. Like I've literally cried over things like that. Like I was like, so when Sean talks about me crying over things, like please know that it is an inanimate object, but it is a symbolic motion of something. So I will still pay attention to crosswalks and pushing buttons and all the different things, and I will message you all, and I'll probably pop up at meetings. Anyway, I love you all so much. Like truly, like this is the best. It's bittersweet, but I'm just down the street, and but I should be more articulate. But I just love you all, and I've had a great 8 years, and so I can't complain whatsoever. And you'll see me downtown. So I love you all.
I'm sure others up here would want an opportunity to say a word or two. I'm not going to hold you back if you want to, but
I do. I can't even remember exactly how we met. I don't even think I was working at Hope Station whenever we met. I think I was on the board at the time. When we did our first Black Cultural Festival, Brenda was a part of that. She was a part of helping us get that organized and get it up, and and she shared it on our Facebook page. She helped with getting information out there for us to think about and to post. And I've always loved Brenda's energy, because yes, you have a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of energy to do the work that she's done and that we've all done. And I'll say that my becoming a council member was something completely unexpected on my behalf, but um, being able to get onto this council with people that I know and that I trust and that understand that it's all new for me and I'm not going to know exactly what I'm doing. Um, Brenda has helped to guide that. I love being on the Land Use Reform Committee, so I'm glad that you've started that. It's an awesome committee, and I love everything about it. And I kind of sit back. I don't say a whole lot in the meetings. I kind of sit back because Brenda knows what she's doing, and I always feel like Brenda's got this. And I don't always know exactly what I should say because Brenda's got it, and I know that she asks all the right questions and everything. So, you are going to be missed. These have been good 4 years, and we got to be sworn in together. The three of us actually got to be sworn in together, and so that's a special thing for me. And you have been special on this council, and yeah, like I said, we're gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you, but you're only like around the corner from me, so when I knock on your door for things,
I'll walk my dog by.
yes, and that's all.
So anybody else?
Yeah. So I didn't know that you asked her to run prior to. I know that you ran or you applied for a vacancy in very early 2017. And there were a lot of really good candidates that time, and you didn't win the vacancy at that point. So I love that you tried again. And just for anybody that cares to know this, it takes an average of 7 times for a woman to be asked to run for something, for her to actually then finally say, yeah, all right, I'm going to do it. So keep asking, Sean, not just Brenda, but all sorts of people, because it does sometimes take some convincing for us. And I really do. One of the things that I appreciate most about Brenda's service here is the Land Use Reform Committee. From my own work that I do in my day job, the housing crisis is, front and center of what I'm looking at every day. And it really is going to take a lot of creative solutions in municipal governments, not just here in Carlisle, but across the county and across the state, to come up with ways that we can solve the affordable housing crisis. And so I love that Brenda's creativity was like first and foremost at that even got that committee formed in the first place. And I hope that you're going to stay involved on that committee, even though you're no longer going to be on council, because those are the ideas that we need to think our way out of this crisis that we're in. So thanks.
So I just obviously want to echo what everybody else said. Thank you for your service here. When I first moved to Carlisle and was getting involved in different organizations, I was talking to a friend and they asked something about like, oh, did you meet Brenda? And I'm like, Brenda, who's Brenda? And they're like, Brenda Landis. I'm like, I don't know who that is. They're like, oh, well, if anybody has seen the show Parks and Rec, they're like, she's kind of like the Leslie Knope of Carlisle. I don't, if you've had the opportunity to like be in a meeting with Brenda, I can think of like just about any meeting I've been in with Brenda where I go in and I'm like, okay, I like, looked up stuff about this topic that we're discussing. I feel like I'm prepared. And then I go in and I'm like, oh, I think I knew nothing about this compared to Brenda. Brenda's like always the most prepared person, it feels like, in any meeting. And I think that carries through to the energy and passion you've had for your service here. I remember when I first got sworn in on council, I had the opportunity to sit beside Brenda and I was like all excited for my first meeting. And it came to the committee that I was on and I was like, oh, I was like, Brenda, what do I do now? And she's like, you just read this part. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. So that was good. So yeah, I just, like everybody else, really want to thank you. Our borough, our town is much better for the work that you have done here. And I am, happy, proud to be living here at Call This Home, proud to raise my family here. And I know it's a better place because of the service you've provided to all of us here in the town. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll just chime in and say, thank you so much for spending time with me whenever I was, I still am very much like a baby counselor, but thank you so much for helping orient me to some of the things that I may not totally aware of whenever I was joining council, and opening up a breadth of possibilities for Carlisle and for our citizens. And I know that we're welcoming a new counselor in January, so I hope that perhaps you also orient her as well. But I know that my informal orientation with you is very helpful in setting me on, I think, hopefully a trajectory that could be 10% as good as yours. So thank you.
You have to say something now.
I have to. I would not. I would not be on this council if it were not for Brenda Landis. Period. End of story with that. But I really, this town is so much better and so much safer because of you. And I feel like you were the counselor that really listened to me when I was like concerned about riding my bike around town. And I just hope that this isn't the last we see of you in this council chamber, or the last that we see you on the ballot, sort of following Kate Mellon's note, because I think you are a really important person to this town. You're a really important person to this community, this area, and I hope that you continue to have as much influence as you do now or more going into the future. So.
I will just say, don't go the Leslie Knope way. If you have watched Parks and Recreation, where she gets removed from council and then makes her like concerned citizens group, and then comes and stomps all around and yells at the counselors and stuff like that. Don't do that. But come back and talk to us in a nice way that encourages change and prosperity for everybody.
But you know what? That would be fun if you want to do that. Yeah, if you feel compelled, you go for it. And I
like a little rabble rousing. It's fine. I will say really quick that when I ran, and then and people were supporting me, and then especially when I won, I said to people, I was like, oh my god, it's like I died and I'm at my own like eulogy, because like people said the nicest things. So just more than anything, just say good things to people before they die. Like, I mean, I serious, like it's so sweet and I love it, but like I love all of you and I mean it. And just remember to like give little like ups for people and be like, I see you, you're doing great. And just it doesn't always have to be for something as big as running for an elected office, but it really was overwhelming to see how many people just notice that I even exist. And I was like, oh, thanks. So anyway, just that's your job, is just to tell other people that you love them and that they're doing great. And thank you so much. And I don't even know what to say.
That was perfect. That's all right. How do we move on from that? We go to budget. We go to budget and finance. our committee together.
That's right. All right, so here we go. Budget and finance. I make the motion that Borough Council take the following actions regarding the adoption and implementation of the fiscal year 2026 budget. Item A, approve the 2026 budget resolution.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the 2026 budget resolution by the Deputy Mayor, and I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Item B, I make the motion to adopt an ordinance setting the real estate tax mill rates for 2026 general purposes and fire service appropriations 3.058 mils and 0.752 mils respectively.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to adopt the ordinance setting real estate tax mill rates for 2026 general purposes and fire service appropriations. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Ms. Mellon.
Aye.
Ms. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Bruce.
Aye.
Mr. Shallow.
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe.
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item C, make the motion to adopt an ordinance establishing water rates.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to adopt an ordinance establishing water rates. I second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Ms. Mellon.
Aye.
Ms. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shaw,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe.
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
Aye. The motion carries.
Item D, make the motion to adopt an ordinance establishing sewer rates.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion adopting an ordinance establishing sewer rates, which I second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
No, roll call.
I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to do that 2 more times too. So, Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Ms. Mellon.
Aye.
Ms. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shaw,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe.
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
Aye. The motion carries.
And a motion to adopt an ordinance establishing stormwater rates.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion adopting an ordinance establishing stormwater rates, which I second. Roll call, Madam
Deputy
Secretary.
Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Ms. Mellon.
Aye.
Ms. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shaw,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe.
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
Aye.
And make the motion to adopt an ordinance setting the fee of $91.89 per quarter per residential dwelling unit for trash collection, and setting the fee of $9.92 per additional tag or tagged bag effective January 1st, 2026.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to adopt an ordinance setting the fee of $91.89 per quarter per residential dwelling unit for trash collection, and setting the fee of $9.92 per additional tag or tag bag effective January 1st, 2026, which I second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. Madam Secretary, the roll, please.
Deputy Mayor Landis.
Aye.
Ms. Mellon.
Aye.
Ms. Perry.
Aye.
Ms. Roos,
Aye.
Mr. Shaw,
Aye.
Mr. Stubbe.
Aye.
Mayor Schultz.
Aye. And that motion carries.
Okay, and just to note that last one, that is still on the previous contract, which was to increase every year. So that is just going by the contract of the hauler that we have worked with, and later on in our agenda will be more about.
More trash.
More about trash. I also make the motion that Borough Council approve the 2025 active volunteer firefighters list that qualifies members of Union Fire Company and Carlisle Fire and Rescue for the reimbursement of earned income tax credit and real estate property tax credit in accordance with ordinance number 2320.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve the 2025 active volunteer firefighters list that qualifies members of our fire companies for reimbursement of earned income tax credit and real estate property tax credit. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And the next section is about our outside agencies funding. I make the motion that Borough Council approve the disbursement of funds as part of the 2026 budget to the outside agency Safe Harbor Inc. in the amount of $2,000.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve the disbursement of funds as part of the 2026 budget to outside agency Safe Harbor Incorporated in the amount of $2,000. I need to recuse myself from this item as I represent Safe Harbor as an attorney. Would somebody else like to make a motion?
A second.
A second by Councilor Mellon. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And the next item, I make the motion that Borough Council approve the disbursement of funds as part of the 2026 budget to the following outside agencies: Biddle Mission Park Labyrinth, $500; Boswell Memorial Library, $2,000; Carlisle Area Healthcare Auxiliary, $500; Carlisle Victory Circle, $1,250; Community Empowerment Services, $750; Cumberland County Historical Society, $500; East Side Neighborhood Association, $250; Neighborhood Dispute Settlement, $250; North Hanover Grill, $2,000; Samaritan Fellowship, $500; and Supportive Partnership for Youth, $1,500.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve disbursement of funds as part of the 2026 budget to the outside agencies that she carefully listed. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
I was just going to note
Okay,
that
go
all
ahead.
of these people had, all of these organizations had presented at a previous meeting their outlined concept for what they were requesting.
Okay. Before we vote, I just want to ask if we could note, because if you add this all up, both the ones that she just read and then Safe Harbor, it adds to $12,000, and we have $10,000 in the budget for that. So just to make a note that the East the North Hanover Grill $2,000 is not actually coming from the outside agency fund in the borough budget, but instead will come from the parking fund because it will support economic development in the downtown, particularly in a neighborhood that has been suffering because of all the, traffic work at the parking circle, etc. So just to separate, if we could make a note of that in the agenda, that 2,000 is coming from a different fund.
Sure. It was, that makes sense. And it was just part of the presentation under outside agency. So it did sort of get lumped under the general area.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
So, as a member of the Eastside Neighbors Association, I'd like to recuse myself from that specific vote. But if it's easier, I can just recuse myself from the entire vote. I don't know if we need to like break that out to vote on that separately so that I can do that. Okay, so I'm recusing myself from that specific item then.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else need to recuse or? Okay, there being no further discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. And with Councilor Stubbe's recusal on Eastside Neighbors noted, the motion carries.
And my final item is I make the motion that Borough Council approve a multi-year agreement with Revised Software Systems at a contract price of $24,050 for the upgrade of the borough's website, including accessibility, compliance services, content migration, and hosting and support.
Deputy Mayor makes a motion to approve the multi-year agreement with Revised Software Systems at a contract price of $24,050 for the upgrade to the borough's website. I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And that completes my report.
Thank you. And it was like the most complicated report of the night for your final meeting.
Just doing my job.
Thank you. Economic development.
Yes. So I have one item on my report tonight. I make a motion that Borough Council adopt a resolution committing funds for the future economic activities totaling $25,000 from the parking fund.
Council Perry makes a motion to adopt the resolution committing funds for future economic activities totaling $25,000 from parking fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Roos. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
And that concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you. ERCP.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 4 items, and before I read them, I just want to thank these 4 individuals and all of the individuals who step up to serve on our boards and commissions. We rely on a lot of volunteers to help make the borough run, and we thank you all for that. So my first motion, I move that council adopt a resolution to appoint Mr. Daniel Hacker to a full 5-year term on the Carlisle Borough Zoning Hearing Board as a full member. The term will become effective January 1, 2026 and shall expire December 31, 2030.
Councilor Mellon makes a motion to adopt a resolution to appoint Daniel Hacker to a full 5-year term on the Carlisle Borough Zoning Hearing Board as a full member. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Perry. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Next, I move that council appoint Mr. Thomas Coolidge to a partial term on the Planning Commission. The term will become effective immediately and shall expire on February 28th, 2029.
Councilor Mellon makes a motion to appoint Mr. Thomas Coolidge to a partial term on the Planning Commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Perry. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Next, I move that council appoint Mr. Andrew Mahalik to a partial term on the Board of Appeals. Mr. Mahalik's term shall become effective immediately and expire January 31st, 2030.
Councilor Mellon makes a motion to appoint Andrew Mahalik to a partial term on the Board of Appeals. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Perry. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And last, I move that council appoint Ms. Lee Espy to a partial term on the LaTorte Regional Authority. The term shall become effective immediately and expire on December 31st, 2028.
Councilor Mellon makes a motion to appoint Lee Espy to a partial term on the LaTorte Regional Authority. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Perry. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilor Mellon. Public safety, I move that council approve the purchase and installation of security cameras for Hilton's Lock and Security in the amount of $25,592.50 through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Cooperative Purchasing Program. Its code starts number 040E22179. Is there a second?
Before I second, I do want to note that I am in full agreement with Owen and Eric's comments earlier about data storage and would be curious to know more about that and know how I can get involved. But second.
Okay, second by Councilor Roos. I don't know if, before we go into discussion, and that might be an answer that we won't have at the tip of our tongue right at this moment, but
I'll just briefly, the camera footage is stored at our police department on their secure servers, but we can certainly get more information.
yeah, do you know, is there cloud storage that's involved with that, Richard? Do you know?
That I'm not 100%
Yeah,
on.
okay, so we'll confirm. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. We'll move on to Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 3 items this evening. First, I move that Borough Council adopt a resolution that formally declares the borough's intent to transition solid waste and recycling collection services to an in-house municipally operated program. Adoption of this resolution would further direct the borough manager to take all necessary steps to develop and implement a comprehensive plan for this transition.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to adopt a resolution that formally declares the borough's intent to transition solid waste and recycling collection services to an in-house municipally operated program. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Roos. Any discussion?
I'll just note that the borough's existing contract with our waste hauler runs through the end of 2027. So any in-house borough collection program wouldn't become operational until that contract concludes.
Okay. And I'll note, I had a conversation with a little bird today who told me that North Middleton's contract decreased a bit a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know what impact that might have on our analysis, but this resolution is not a point of no return at this stage, so we can continue to do some analysis and make sure this makes sense. But of course, there were a number of other reasons beyond that cost that we were moving ahead with this. Is there any other discussion?
I just wanted to say thank you to all the staff and council members who put work into this. It's really a really wonderful thing. So.
Yeah, I wanted to echo that too. The staff really put a lot of work into getting us to this point that we're able to take this step. And I know that us taking this step now is just going to unleash them to be doing a whole lot more work, particularly over the next year, so that we can then make some decisions down the line. So thank you all for that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, hearing nothing further, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Next, I move that Borough Council adopt a resolution to support the Borough of Carlisle in requesting a local share account statewide grant of $725,204 from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used for the purchase of 2 solid waste trucks.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to adopt a resolution to support Borough of Carlisle in requesting an LSA grant of $725,204. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Shiles. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
And finally, I move that Borough Council authorize the mayor to sign the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection Sewage Facilities Planning Module Exemption Form for a connection to the borough's sanitary sewer system from the proposed Carlisle Construction Materials Expansion Project Land Development Plan 1285 Rittner Highway, Carlisle.
Councilor Stubbe makes a motion to authorize the signing of Carlisle Construction Materials Planning Module Exemption Form. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Shiles. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. And the motion carries.
And that concludes the Public Works Committee report this evening.
Thank you. Sustainable Community and Economic Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have several items on my agenda for tonight, or 3 items on my agenda for tonight. The first is that I make a motion that Borough Council may approve a time extension request by Penn Terra Engineering Incorporated on behalf of S&A Homes, owners of the property identified with parcel ID number 05-19-1647-101, more commonly known as Phases 2C and 5 of the Chesterfield subdivision, for satisfying the conditions of plan approval for the final subdivision plan, Chesterfield Phases 2C and 5, as per Section 226-21A, Part 3 of the Borough's Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance. The request is for an additional 90 days. The new deadline shall be March 11th, 2026.
Councilor Shiles makes a motion to approve the time extension request by Pantera Engineering for Chesterfield subdivision phases 2C and 5, providing an additional 90 days to satisfy conditions of the plan approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay, and the motion carries.
My second item tonight is that I make a motion that Borough Council may approve a time extension request for Douglas Brem for satisfying the condition of plan approval on the land development plan for Hidden Meadows Phase 2, H Street, Northwest Street, Carlisle. The deadline shall be extended from January 6, 2026 to February 5th, 2026.
Councilor Shiles makes a motion to approve the time extension request from Douglas Brem for the satisfaction of conditions of plan approval for Hidden Meadows Phase 2 from January 6th, 2026 to February 5th, 2026. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries.
The third item on my agenda for tonight is that I make a motion that Borough Council may consider drafting and advertising a revised ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Carlisle, Chapter 183, Property Maintenance, establishing procedures and requirements to redevelop, reuse, or revitalize former underutilized buildings in the urban mixed-use district, to be considered for enactment at a later regularly scheduled council meeting selected by council.
Councilor Shiles makes a motion to draft and advertise the revised ordinance amending the code of Borough of Carlisle, Chapter 183, Property Maintenance. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. Is there any discussion?
I will just say that I will not be here to vote for such a thing, but it is an important tool in our toolbox to have this put forward, and I would vote for it if I was allowed. That is it.
You can show up and provide public comment.
That is my public comment in advance.
In advance. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Shiles. Next is new business, so that's another opportunity for public comment. Is there anybody who would like to provide any additional public comment on issues of borough business? Seeing none here. Stephanie, anybody by Zoom? Okay, we'll move to reports from council members and staff. Mr. Mental.
No reports at this time. Just students are in the middle of finals and hoping they do well.
Okay, good luck.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came out for the parade and for the Parks Department for continuing to put on excellent holiday programming for the citizens of Carlisle.
Councilor Mellon, anything? Councilor Stevie? I'll mention one before I forget that we're going to be having an executive session afterwards to discuss matters covered by attorney-client privilege with our solicitor. We won't be coming back in this session, so we'll be adjourning from here. Two, I'll echo what Councilor Roos said. I didn't get to attend the parade because I think it's always scheduled when I'm in Silver Spring, and I have their meeting that night. But the tree lighting was fantastic. There were reindeer. It was amazing. My daughter practically squealed when she got to pet the reindeer. So it made her evening. So thank you to everybody who helped put that together. And Stacy and Phil aren't here from DCA, but thanking them from afar. I'm going to hold off. Councilor Perry.
Yeah. So Saturday from 10 to 3, I think it is, there will be a Christmas bazaar that will be held. The address is 228 Northwest Street, correct? Okay, I just want to make sure I say the address, and then I'm like, is that correct address? For me, it used to be the beer distributor, so that's all I ever know. So I didn't know the address. It is located, I guess, diagonal from Memorial Park, which is where Hope Station is held. But there will be vendors in there. It's just kind of celebrating the holidays. I think they're gonna have like hot chocolate and hot dogs. I think there's gonna be a food vendor or two that'll be in there as well. But if you're looking for some Christmas gifts, I'll say come shop around a little bit, but come see inside and how big it is and how good it looks. I haven't seen it decorated, but they've been doing it decorating now for the past 2 weeks, getting some things together. So I think it's gonna look really good. So just wanted to say that, and also, uh, happy holidays.
Councilor Shopps.
No reports.
Okay. Does the borough manager have anything for us this evening?
Yes, I'd first like to just comment about Brenda's service as a council member and our deputy mayor. I summed it up to one of our leadership team members tonight. I said, for Brenda Landis, all I can say is literally and figuratively, she was always willing to lend a hand. She was always there to also lend an ear and lend support wherever necessary. So, very much appreciate that, Brenda. I know that some of my team members that have had the opportunity to work with you always commented on your energy, your innovativeness, and we know you'll stay involved. I'm sure we'll see you at the podium at some point, but we wish you the very best. I always like to, at the end of the year, and as we look forward to the new year, I can't go away from the mic without first extending much gratitude and appreciation to the 120 plus uniformed and non-uniformed personnel that show up every day to do the work, the hard work, and they do so, and they do so oftentimes very tirelessly, with limited resources, and but they understand what public service is. They get that from the leadership team that's here, that's been compiled here over the course of a number of years. We're very thankful to have the leadership that we do at staff leadership. They embrace public service. They strive to improve the lives in the community that we serve. They understand what public service is about. And the one thing that impresses me with this group is they definitely understand teamwork. Nothing is I. You won't hear I out of them very often. It's always a we. And the cross-departmental problem solving is exceptional at this level. So it's very impressive to me, and I want to thank each and every one of you for the time that you put in every day to make our community a better place. So thank you. That's it. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Then we'll leave it to Deputy Mayor. You can say whatever you want to say. You can prolong the meeting, and then I'm going to have you adjourn us when you're ready.
Can I gavel?
You can totally gavel. Yeah, I never use it, but you can go
I'm
ahead.
gonna use it anyway. I mean, I've said most of what I need to say, but I can only say thank you enough for letting me serve, just letting me be up here, the people elected me to, be up here, but everyone that's in the borough that I've been able to work with have been exceptional, and I know that we get a lot of criticism across the board in different ways and praise, don't get me wrong, but I do tell people, I'm like, you have actually I know that it seems self-serving and it will come out maybe sounding like that, but you really do have a good government, a good borough here. We are imperfect, and I know that, but we are always trying to do better. And it's everyone here. And so when you do come up and you speak and you tell us things, we are listening. We might not give you an answer right away because we don't want to just give you something that we aren't sure of. So what I can tell you
is that I've seen all the behind the scenes work of people digging in and researching and making sure that if the wrong thing came out, then it gets fixed. I know that our friends were in, a sinkhole, this week when it was freezing, and so it's like everything from just the paperwork to the hands-on work, and us up here, I don't know, we're the figureheads of the borough, but those are the people that are actually doing the concrete work, and we're just trying to support them. I have learned an immense amount. Like someone that I work with at Dickinson, Gene Winger, he had done some work with the borough years ago for the Seven Gables, like trees, like chronicling what kinds of ancient trees we have there. But he did make a note to me saying that he thought that everyone should give like 10 years of service in some capacity. That doesn't mean up here. It just means doing little neighborly things, doing little volunteer things, but something about outside of just the job that, is your daily go-to, to be able to give time to something that is bettering your community, bettering the world. And it's like infectious. Like, it's the only thing, like, that's why I do what I do. And people say I have energy. I'm like, I'm fascinated with things. I'm curious about things. The more I learn, the more I want to learn more, the more I want to be able to help. And I love it when I see other people do that, when they get that spirit of just trying and maybe failing and then getting up and trying again. So if you ever want to know about what happens up here and you think you want to run for elected office, do it. Don't, it's true. You do. At least for me, I had to be asked a couple times. I'm like, are you serious? Look at me. Like, but then I also like to point out that all of us are very different, and we're all very, it's very important to have a wide range of voices and thoughts and perspectives, and at the staff level. So I can only say thank you enough for everything that you've allowed me to do and everything you've allowed me to learn. And I will pop up at meetings and stuff and send you all messages and stuff because I just love it. It's infectious. Thank you for everything, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and we are adjourned.